All right. She says, I'm speaking to you at what I know is an increasingly challenging time, a time of disruption in the life of our country, a disruption that has brought grief to some, financial difficulties to many, and enormous changes to the daily lives of us all. Already, she's setting up a connection between her as the speaker and her subjects as the audience. And in her approach, she's being very straightforward with her people. We'll see this throughout the passage too. There's not really much sugarcoating of the situation with the COVID-19 crisis. And she also has an addressing here of the some, the many, and the all, for whom this is a crisis. She goes on to say, I want to thank everyone on the National Health Service front line, as well as care workers and those carrying out essential roles who selflessly, important word, continue their day-to-day duties outside the home in support of us all. I'm sure the nation will join me in assuring you that what you do is appreciated, and every hour of your hard work brings us closer to a return to more normal times. I also want to thank those of you who are staying at home, thereby helping to protect the vulnerable and sparing many families the pain already felt by those who have lost loved ones. There's a lot going on in this paragraph. She mentions the workers who are still on the job, who are risking themselves, although some are immune, many are risking themselves of exposure for continuing with their job, thus it's selfless work. At the same time, she talks about those who aren't out to work, who are simply just staying at home, sheltering in place, and regardless of which group you're in, each one of those tasks or duties or obligations, staying at home, being an essential care worker, is an honorable duty. So there's kind of a uniting aspect here. Everyone has an honorable duty. Honorable duty to carry out during this crisis. So it's our speaker, the Queen, who's trying to portray all the different people who are affected, which is basically everybody, as equally honorable. Everybody's doing their part, doing their bit, as they would say over in England. And infused throughout this paragraph and the entire speech is a lot of unifying language, we, us, our, and the idea of the shared stakes. The stakes of this crisis are shared by royal and non-royal alike. And again, that kind of comes back to the idea that this is a speech that was given out of the usual sequence. It wasn't at Christmas time. This was an emergency speech. The Queen also addresses at the end of that paragraph the pain, those who have lost loved ones. I mentioned that she's not sugarcoating the high stakes involved in this crisis. Together, that's an important word. Together, we, so some more of this unifying language, are tackling the disease, and I want to reassure you that if we remain united and resolute, then we will overcome it. I hope in the years to come, everyone will be able to take pride in how they responded to this challenge. Challenge is a word we'll come back to as well. That's one of the ways that she refers to this crisis. Also as a disruption. That might be worth noting. And those who come after us will say the Britons of this generation were as strong as any, that the attributes of self-discipline, of quiet, good-humored resolve, and of fellow feeling still characterize this country. The pride in who we are is not a part of our past. It defines our present and our future. She's continuing with the unity, the sense of unification, bringing people together. Everybody remains united and resolute. They're all focused on a common goal. She also calls, so that has to do with pride. And pride is quite a motivator. Pride is national pride in this case, not nationalistic pride. That's something different. But the pride that you have, more healthy pride in feeling good about your contribution to your country. So the motivator is pride in your country here. She's also speaking to a certain stamina that people are going to be needing. Again, it's not going to be an easy time. It's going to require self-discipline, good-humored resolve, etc. Mentions more about the pride. It's not just a part of our past, it defines our present and our future. A lot can be said about the 20th century history of Britain. Just general knowledge. World War II, they were a part of the Allies, they were victorious, they were in the war much longer than the US, etc. And along with that, maybe a sense that Britain hasn't really had a national test of its resolve in the same way since. And so maybe they've been on the decline as a country, sort of their reputation. But these kinds of comments here remind her subjects that, different crises, different challenges, different disruptions arrive in different forms. Sometimes it's a world war, sometimes it's a global pandemic. And that Britain is still vital, it's still a vital country, it's still strong. The same characteristics can win in the present day too. There hasn't been this kind of decline. So that's not completely covert. She's putting it out there that, hey, Britain's still on the map as far as what we're able to contribute. The moments when the United Kingdom has come together to applaud its care and essential workers will be remembered as an expression of our national spirit, and its symbol will be the rainbows drawn by children. So more unifying language coming together, national spirit,